What's good, people? This is your boy Vinny at London Boy Podcast. I've got my mate David here today. David, what's going on, bro?
I'm good, G. What about you?
Yeah, all good, man. Just been trying to, just trying to keep working and then keep it consistent with this podcast thing. You can't be
Yeah,
slacking out here, bro. If you want something to work out, you gotta keep working at it.
yeah. I apologize, guys, for the first podcast. If you hear any like crackling, that's from me. I had some cheap Chinese headphones and stuff like that, So
Mm.
that's my fault. Hopefully, it sounds a little bit better now today. So
But it's all good. Like I listened back to it about twice. I still got something out of it, the key points we spoke about. I'm sure anyone that listened to it would have learnt something new. But yeah,
yeah,
in regards to quality, like I've seen someone commented on the video, oh, the sound. Yeah, trust me, the more we do this, the more better we're gonna get at it. It's a bit like, when you first ride your bike as a kid. You start off with the
yeah.
training wheels, and then slowly, you become independent at doing it. It's a bit like that. Like it's got getting used to. And for those that don't know, obviously I haven't got any, media background, editing background, nothing of the sort. So this is all a new sort of learning experience to me. And have you got any media background, Dave?
Not really.
Yeah. So this is
I know.
literally a new experience.
Yeah, I roughly know how to use some stuff, but I don't
Mm.
have any like media. I don't know how to like edit videos, check like audio levels and stuff like that. So yeah, we do apologize for that.
Yeah, but it's
So
all good. It's all good. So today's topic is a bit of a deep one, a bit of a personal one. I want to discuss haters, self doubt, and negativity. So,
mm,
in my opinion, those three, haters, self doubt, and negativity, they're things that have stopped me in the past from doing certain stuff and achieving certain things. They're the sort of things that have held me back. And if it wasn't for them, I'd probably be even further than I am now. Not to say that I'm far in life, I've got a long way to go, but I just feel like I just wish I would have overcome those three factors earlier on in my life. Like, what do you think about, haters, self doubt, negativity? Has that stopped you? Has it slowed you down, hindered your progress in the past?
yeah, in the past I've had sort of self doubt because of ex relationships and
Mm,
not feeling as confident as I first was.
yeah,
So yeah, I think everyone's sort of relatable to sort of having sort of like relationships and stuff like that, and sort of breaking out of relationships
of
and
course, of
having
course.
to go through the emotional strain of that. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
man.
put me down and hindered me a little bit. In
Mm,
terms of haters, anyone that knows me, I'm quite tall. I've been tall my whole entire sort of like childhood, my adulthood, and stuff like
mm,
that.
yeah,
I've had haters. I've had haters myself. Yeah. Luckily, I'd be able to sort of like nip stuff in the bud, sort of quite fast.
mm,
Um, and the haters that were sort of hating on me, um, I didn't fuck with them in a way. So I kept them out of my life. I keep my circle sort of close. I only fuck with people that are sort of like real ones. So
yeah.
shout out to anyone that's on my Instagram listening
Mm.
to this, okay?
Hey, I'm not gonna lie, man. We gained a few followers from your Instagram. Alright, that's pretty real of them, to say the least, man.
Yeah, there's some real people.
Yeah, definitely. And what you just said there, that the haters, you don't even give them the time of day. You just keep your circle small. That's very important. And to be honest, like, yeah, I might be putting myself out there now on the podcast. We're all trying to, gain an audience, like pump out value content and all that sort of stuff. But people that know me in real life like that, including yourself, they know that I don't really mess with many people.
Yeah.
Like the people I mess with, when I say mess with, I mean like obviously I'm friends with. They're all very positive. They're all doing stuff for their lives. They're all, they're all going places, and I don't really experience many forms of jealousy or envy from them.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah, I feel like the people that you grew up with in London and the people that you grew up with sort of around sort of like Hertfordshire and stuff like that, they'll have a positive influence on you, you know? So
Yeah, definitely, man. And even like my friends, remember in the last podcast, I say, well, I grew up in a negative environment in Camden, and I went to sort of a negative school as well. But I do have like a handful of friends that grew up with me around there from London that I've known since I was 10, 12 in secondary school. And yeah, we're still friends to this day. They're still, good people. They're doing their thing. They're keeping it, they're keeping it 100, and I respect that entirely. You know,
mm,
and obviously
yeah,
since I've moved out of the city, at first when I first sort of moved there, I did come across some people that weren't all there for me. Obviously now I guess I found my tribe, so to speak. So it's good, man. It's good, and I feel like the best sort of friends you can have are the ones where you're free to be yourself around them.
yeah, they're not judgmental.
They're not very judgmental, and that's what I like, man. Especially when I announced this podcast last Saturday. I think I announced it last Friday or last Saturday. Hey,
And it's Monday now.
and it's Monday now. Mate, those people within not even 24 hours, they said, "Yeah, we're jumping on it with you." So they're not just saying, "Yeah, you're Vinny. You got these mad ideas. We respect you." They're like, "Nah, Vinny, we're jumping on with you." And you
Mm,
like yourself as well. Like I obviously I highly appreciate that. Anyone that sort of jumped on, anyone that sort of subscribed, anyone that's has kept it real in general. Like shout out to all of you.
yeah. I reckon once we get it sort of all sort of like professionally sort of laid out
Hmm.
and become a little bit more sort of knowledgeable with
Yeah.
podcasts and sort of like videos on YouTube and stuff like that.
Mm.
Sorry, but yeah, we're going to be amazing. You know, you're going to be amazing. All your friends are going to be amazing, and hopefully we have some special guests come on in the future as well.
Yeah, 100%. And anyone listening, like if you want to jump on in the future as a guest, if you want to say your piece, follow the Instagram LDN Boy Podcast and just drop me a DM and we can get something arranged.
Yeah, it's very simple. Like you can talk about any type of subject you want to.
Any type of
Um,
subject, but to be honest with you, I'm not really a fan of picking up celebrities or people that are already famous because like I've got an experience where like I've met someone like a big YouTuber. We came to an agreement that they were going to do something for me, and it just turned out that these sort of YouTubers, these big celebrities, they're just fake, bro. They're just fake people, and they only care about the money side of it. Right? Us,
yeah,
we genuinely care about people and providing value and helping anyone out that might relate to it or might be
yeah.
going
Like
through a similar thing.
I looked at the YouTuber he was talking about today, right?
Yeah,
And oh my god, he's so cringe on like his Instagram and stuff like that. It's so funny.
bro.
Like,
You know what the thing is, yeah. In obviously he's an OG, and I'm not even gonna say his name, but those who know they know, and he's an OG. He's been around for over 10 years on this YouTube fitness thing. He's the reason I got into reading. But the thing is, when I watched him at the beginning, I watched him around 2014, 2015. That was just before he blew. And it's funny enough, like before people blow up, they keep it real. They provide the best value. But as soon as they blow up, the money gets to their head. So I just think that's what happened. I just think
yeah,
that the money must have got to their head. And yeah, but obviously, we're not like that. Poor, rich, famous, whatever, it's still gonna be the same person, you know.
Exactly.
And,
Exactly.
and yeah, so let's dive back into the topic. So haters, then, would ideally, what do you think of haters? Do you see them as motivators? Do you see them as something you'd ignore? I know you kind of answered it before, but we sort of went on a bit of a tangent, you know.
Yeah. No, it's something that I try to ignore and sort of get motivation from at the
Mm,
same time.
yeah,
Um, like I already know I'm quite blessed in some sort of regards, let's
mm,
say. So for me, I know my value, you know, so I
yeah.
don't want anyone to sort of like, I don't want people around me that sort of like, oh, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, blah, 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 like, or
That
just
might
giving me
try
hate in general.
that try drag you down, basically.
Yeah, they try and drag me down. I want people around me that are always positive,
Mm,
and that's why I only fuck with only a few people. Like if you look at my Instagram, there's only probably about 50 people, I think, and well, not every single person, but
most of them.
a large majority of them I fuck with. You know, the people I actually care about. So
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. And to be honest with you, in like day-to-day life, I'm the same. But when it comes to stuff that you sort of put out there to the public, that's when I sort of tend to get the most hate. And it's not even just this podcast, for example. Even in the past year, obviously, anything I'm already sort of doing, making money off behind the scenes, I don't really reach out for help. Or can you buy this, that, the other? But when I sort of try out some ideas of, you know, whether I have a product or have this or have that, and I'm trying to sort of hustle it on social media, I've noticed people, man, they've got the habit of just watching everything you're doing, but they don't want to share it. Or you don't even have to
mm,
spend money to buy it. Just like sharing something is free, you know. Just like hitting the like button on this video is free. So I don't see
mm,
why you shouldn't do it. And to be
yeah,
completely honest with you, when I announced that we were doing this podcast, yeah, I had a lot of people interested saying, yeah, we're gonna jump on, and I'm still waiting for a few other people that are gonna jump on. We already arranged the topic and everything. At the time, well, at the same time, I saw something that sort of, you know, angered me, kind of pissed me off a bit. Like someone must have said a silly comment, and this was someone that went to my secondary school. We're not boys, we're not friends. We're just, you know, we just sort of kept in contact on Instagram. We wouldn't even keep in contact. We just sort of followed each other. And I'm
mm,
thinking that sort of mentality of, yeah, you're trying something new. I'm gonna hate on you. That's exactly the same mentality you see in secondary school. Like, nothing's changed, and that sort of angered me a bit. But I just block the minute. Like the minute I see a bit of negativity, I just tend to block it out. But I don't want nothing to do with it.
yeah, just fuck them. Honestly, like I know this video is probably gonna get like in YouTube, I think it's demonetized or whatever. Like, I swear quite a lot. I apologize, but
I don't
yeah,
care.
like those people can go and fucking. Okay, I can't say that.
They
I
can
was
do
gonna say
one,
hand.
basically. They can
They can
do.
do. They can do. They can do one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, like this is fucking childish as well. So
Mm.
even saying something like that, like saying a childish comment, is just kind of sort of pointless, you know. So they can go suck their own mama's pum pum, you know.
Yeah,
So
literally, bro. And there's a difference, yeah. Yeah, constructive criticism is always welcome. It's like on the first video we brought out. Someone made a comment about, yeah, you need to improve the audio quality, and I said to him, I was like, mate, I appreciate that. We're gonna work on it. That constructive criticism I can take, but when you just get people that are just you know,
salty.
being salty for no reason, bro, that just sort of pisses me off, you know.
Yeah, and shout out to the person who commented as well. Like, we know the audio is a little bit shit.
Yeah,
Like, we're brand new to this, so just give us a chance.
yeah, definitely. You know, we appreciate the comment, and we're gonna get there.
Yeah. So yeah, haters in general, I just tend to sort of like use them as a little bit of motivation. I'm like,
Mm,
okay, I've got something that you want, yeah, and I'm
mm.
better than you. And then if they are trying to sort of like bring me down, I just block them out of my life, you know. It's simple. Like it's on my screen. I can click one button, boom, done, you know. So
Yeah, definitely, man. And I had a different perspective towards haters in the past. Like before, my sort of point of view used to be, I'm gonna disappear, work on myself, and when I come back, for example, there was a point where I disappeared for a while, and I came back quite, I banged him, I came back hench, and then I thought, in a way, I sort of seeked for validation. I wanted those haters to start liking me for no reason. But
yeah,
now I'm fucking voicing my opinion on YouTube. I don't give a shit. Like now, my perspective went from want to be liked by everyone to I understand not everyone's gonna like you, so I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. Regardless if you like it, love it, hate it, dislike it. I don't give a shit. Gonna keep doing me, bro.
hmm. So yeah, what's the next question that you want to talk about?
So the next question is, have you? What's your experience with self doubt, and what do you think causes self doubt?
Okay, for me, self doubt again. Talking about relationships, I think we talked about this earlier on, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I had a few ex relationships, and it made me feel like I wasn't good enough to be with that person or a person as equal as them in the future.
Yeah.
Um, and it just made me feel like I wasn't good enough, you know.
Mm,
So I took a step back and I was like, you know what, David, what are you doing? You know, let me get on my grind, improve myself, and if I'm gonna find someone in the future, by the way, ladies, I'm single, you know, so hit me up.
yeah, hit him up.
Uh, yeah. So yeah. Anyway, I'm on my grind. I'm doing my shit, and I want someone else that's on an equal par,
Mm.
the same as me. You know,
And
so if like they're on their shit, they've got their shit
and
going.
on the
The
same
same
wavelength
mindset.
as well. Yeah, same mindset,
Yeah.
same wavelength, all of that. You know, and I've got the same sort of experience of self doubt. Obviously growing up, I was in a way I was constantly sort of the idea of not being good enough was always reinforced to me. Whether it was
Yeah.
like teachers putting you in the dumb class, or like bullies in primary school, like just taking the piss out of you. Over dumb shit like, oh, four eyes this, that, just people just love chatting shit, bro. So in a way, that sort of reinforced a bit of self doubt to me growing up. And yeah, to be completely honest with you, I was always the quiet kid in school, which is obviously a surprise now that I'm being vocal about my opinions. But yeah, and obviously past relationships, like you're with a person for a long time, and then one day they just do a complete U-turn on you, and then you feel to yourself, what the hell have I done wrong? Is there something wrong with me? Am I not good enough? So like, I sort of went through that, and it leads to all types of like self-destructive behavior, such as like binge drinking and all of that sort of stuff, and just feeling depressed in general. I just feel like there's a spin on it. You can use it, so obviously if it breaks you down, you can use it to build yourself back up. It's a bit like like the gym. You go to the gym,
Mm-hmm.
you pump the weight, you tear the muscle down, and then the muscle grows back even stronger. And that's how I feel it is with negative stuff that happens to you. That person breaks your heart, or that person does this, that, the other. Use that pain, get back, stand up even stronger. Next time around, when that person tries it or if someone else tries it, they're not gonna get you down like that.
Mm.
And I feel like
Uh,
that was thick skin. And yeah, thick skin is what's gonna keep you going, what's gonna keep you zero focused, going through life, not caring what anyone thinks.
I was gonna ask you, how did you improve yourself after your ex relationship?
Oh, so after, honestly, man, like, so I was 19 at the time when it ended, and it literally took me a good two, three, no, not 3 years. It took me like a good 2 years to get over it. And how I improved myself, I literally, I'm not gonna lie, at the beginning, I sort of went down the sort of self-destructive route, started going out more, started drinking more. So drinking to the point of where you're throwing up, that's never good. And then I was eating a lot of fast food, like McDonald's, pretty much 4 days a week. I put on a bunch of weight. I was even though I went gym, I got big, got hench. I was the heaviest I've ever been in my life, and that's not a good look, bro. Like 105 kg, bro. That's fucking too much, especially for someone
Mm,
my build, and that you're meant to be looking lean, And yeah, but yeah, after that, I sort of I went traveling with my friend. Literally a few months after the breakup, I went Amsterdam with the boys, and then in the summer we went to Ayia Napa, Cyprus. Trust me, I recommend everyone to go there, especially if you're single. Trust me, you should go. And I sort of just lived my life, and I just thought to myself, oh wow, like there's much more to life. We live in a big wide world, so many places to travel to. Like the world is bigger than that person that's torn you down and left you. And then after that,
yeah,
but to be honest with you, I'd say the saving grace for me that sort of put me back on track was university. Like I started studying law. Like I've always wanted to study law since I was young. I did an apprenticeship when I was younger at a law firm, and yeah, but I always thought to myself like, "Oh, Vinny, you're too stupid to go uni. You're too stupid to study law." So I sort of tackled that self doubt. Like I banged out the 3 year course, and during the 3 year course, I was going to the gym as well, improving my body. And anyone that's going through some sort of any type of anxiety, any type of depression, stress, trust me, when the gyms open back up, you've got to go to the gym. It will help you, not just physically but mentally. You know. So
yeah.
after,
I was going to say as well, if I could add in,
yeah, go on.
yeah, going to the gym definitely helps. I know some people may not have a gym that's near them, or they
Mm,
can't afford the gym or whatever.
yeah,
There's other stuff out there like reading. Reading's a
reading.
really good skill to have because it gives you a lot of in-depth knowledge where you can sort of reference from,
Yeah,
as well as learning a new skill as well. Learning a new skill could be like rock climbing
hmm,
or I don't know, being a marathon runner
definitely.
or I don't know,
It's
learning
different.
how to build a robot or how to learn how to build a website. There's so many skills
There's
out
a
there.
lot. There's a lot to learn, bro. There's a lot to learn, and recently as well. So like back to my story, like the gym and that helped me, and obviously reading like people. Like if you think we spoke about much in the last podcast, like if we weren't readers, we wouldn't have all that knowledge. Yeah, we were talking about experience as well, because that's the thing about reading. The reading gave me the knowledge to implement and create the experience. Because there's a saying like the more you learn, the more you earn. So
Yeah.
trust me, reading changed my life. I'm an avid reader and I'm proud of it. I don't care if it's nerdy because at the end of the day, it's a fact. Most millionaires read every day. So
Yeah. For example, if you take Bill Gates, yeah, one of the richest men in the world,
mm,
he says one of the best things that he learns from is actually books. So he
yeah.
has a massive library in his house where he just reads.
And I heard as
Um,
well that in the summer, what he does, he locks himself and he's got like a shed somewhere, like a cabin. He drives to his cabin, he locks himself in a cabin and just has like a reading break, just binge reads. But yeah, yeah, you can read anything, but when we say reading, like we're not talking about no Harry Potter books, are we?
no, we're
We're
not
talking,
talking fiction. We're talking reality. What's going to help you in the long run?
So like a few sort of sub-genres could be obviously financial books, business books, personal development, all that sort of stuff. Like, honestly, it will help you as a person mentally. It will help you in your relationships. It will help you at your job. Because even if you go to most jobs, they tell you to read certain books to improve your sales skills. Because with customers, you have to be confident. You have to have, you know what I mean? You have to be social. You have to be friendly. You have to have those sales skills.
Yeah.
And
So for us, I would recommend two books for everyone to go
but
and
you
read.
give me your top two, and then if you already named my top two, I'll just give them another top two.
Well, I was going to say Rich Dad Poor Dad. Okay, so
100%.
Rich Dad Poor Dad basically gives you the correct mentality to learn how rich people think. Okay,
Yeah.
that gives you the financial freedom that was in the first podcast.
Yeah,
Okay,
and sorry, before you continue, literally that book for me, I only read that book once, and I remember most of it still till this day. And for me, that book was the equivalent of, have you seen the film The Matrix?
yeah,
When the main character takes the red pill and then he sees the reality for what it is. Like that book
mm,
right there, that was my red pill to everything I've ever learned in school, everything society has ever taught me. And that book taught me, it basically let me know what I wanted to do in life, and it got me into property. So, and it made me understand financial literacy. I recommend
yeah,
everyone to read that book.
yeah. So I want to ask a quick question to the viewers, right?
Yeah.
So
And guys, don't forget to comment.
yeah, so the more comments you give, the better, you know.
Yeah.
So what does McDonald? What is the business plan of McDonald's?
Mm.
What do they do?
And guys, if you're too lazy to research, you can go into the first podcast and find out.
Yeah, you can go into the first podcast and find out.
Yeah.
But McDonald's, what they do, they don't sell. Well, they do sell fast food,
Mm.
but it's not their main income. Their main income is actually from having a lot of land and retail, retail,
Territory.
yes, having a retail territory in
Yeah.
big cities all over the world. Basically,
And
they've
it's
got
not, and it's
thousands.
bro, and it's not even just the restaurants, bro. McDonald's own farms.
Oh yeah, their own farms,
Yeah.
warehouses,
Mm.
um, yeah, and loads of stuff basically.
Yeah, man. So trust me, people check that book out, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Oh, what's your second book?
Uh, I've only got, I haven't read this one yet, but it's The Millionaire's Fast Lane.
Oh, I told you.
Um,
It's funny enough. I told you about that as well. But I've never read it myself.
yeah, I need to read through it. So The Millionaire's Fast Lane, it gives you more of a guide on how to start your own business.
Mm.
And it doesn't have to be a business where you dump loads of money in and you're working really hard or whatever. It just gives you the correct mindset on how to start a small business and grow it into something bigger. So it can be anything.
Mm. And that
It can
literally,
be anything.
and that literally implements to what you're doing with yourself. So yeah. So
Yeah, it
bonus.
implements with what I'm doing. Yeah.
All right, guys. So my obviously, Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's in my best books of all time. But for the viewers' recommendations, my top two books, I'm gonna include something that I read during the pandemic, and I literally read that before I started a new job, and it sort of helped me sort of implement my intentions and my skill set to this new job. So there's a book called Bounce. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's by a guy called Matthew Said. He's a British guy. He's an ex professional table tennis player, and in that book, he basically talks about how literally practice makes perfect. Like everyone you see that's like masterful at their craft. For example, say like Michael Jackson, yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson, He wasn't the best singer of all time when he was alive, not because he was just born like that. Michael Jackson was singing since he was 9 years old. Like, he was getting forced to sing from a young age, and that basically teaches you that it takes 10,000 hours to master a craft. 10,000 hours is equivalent to 10 years. So let's say he started when he was 9. By the time he was 20, he was already a professional, and he died when he was 50. So he had a whole lifetime of being a master at his craft, of being an expert. And that just doesn't talk about Michael Jackson. It talks about, like Serena Williams, a tennis player. Like,
Hmm.
she had I think she's got a twin sister, and when she was young, her dad used to take them to Compton, obviously where they live. They used to take them to the estate to play tennis, and he used to just chuck hundreds of balls at them, and they'd get good at their reflexes. They get good at what they're doing. And another thing that book helped me with myself is basically it tells you that if you want to get good at something, you have to obviously practice it. And it told me to be in the work in the industry that I want to get into. So, for example, let's say I want to get into the property business as a like an investor. It basically told me, oh, you need to work in the real estate industry so that you can understand what's going on inside and out. Because obviously, I've got stuff going on behind the scenes, but in terms of career path, I'm now a better understanding. And let's say I work 8 9 hour days. That's that's building up to that 10,000 hour rule. Yeah, I might not be there for 10 years, but I'm still gaining those hours of experience and knowledge. Honestly, I recommend anyone to read that book. And yeah, like you should order this after this podcast, Dave.
I should
Yeah,
jump on Amazon and order it. Yeah, your
yeah,
recommendation.
trust me. And by the way, people, we're not getting paid for these shout outs. These are just books that have helped us, you know. And the second book is called Hard Times Create Strong Men, and it's by an author called Stefan Arnyo. He sadly passed away last year. Rest in peace to him. But he was a real estate investor. Like, I've been reading a lot of his books about property and a lot of his books about sales, like teaches you how to be a better negotiator, a better seller. In this book specifically, Hard Times Create Strong Men basically talks about that as a man, as misogynistic as it might sound, as a man in life, your duty is to, go to work, do the hard grind, and then just get on with your day. Like, stop bitching, stop complaining, just do what you have to do. That's basically the premise of that book, and it basically teaches you, like, you're the provider, you're the man. No one's gonna give it to you on a plate. You're gonna have to go out and earn it. But it's more of a
Yeah.
mindset book, to be honest with you, and it tells you as well that literally the title "Hard Times Do Create Strong Men." So I'll give you an example. By the time this pandemic is over, because we all would have gone through a hard time, we're all gonna go even harder when it comes to any opportunity to work and getting the opportunity to practice business, because it just is. That's just how it works, to be honest with you. So yeah, my two are Bounce and Hard Times Create Strong Men.
I also want to clarify as well that there is some women out there that have their own thing going on, their own business,
Yeah,
they work hard. It's the same for women as well. Like I know what we said was a little bit misogynistic,
no, but it
but
wasn't
it's the
even
same
that.
for everyone.
I was literally just explaining the premise of the book. But
Yeah, I know you're explaining the book, but it's the same principle for women as well.
yeah, literally same principle for women, and shout out to all the women grinding out there, doing their thing as well. Because like without women, like men, we wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
So we covered a bit about haters, we covered a bit about self doubt. Let's talk a bit about negativity. How do you sort of, I feel like as a human, yeah, no one's perfect. Anyone that says they're perfect is lying. How do you try and we can't really stay positive all the time, but how do you try and battle like negative thoughts in your head?
Um,
And sorry to cut you, and a lot of those negative thoughts come from fear. So
yeah, first of all, I try and keep to a routine. So I'll wake up at a decent time. I go to bed at a decent time. I'm not going to bed at like fucking 4 in the morning or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So I try and have a routine of just sleeping correctly. And then second of all is I have a routine within my day. So I have my breakfast, I read, I relax for like a half an hour or so, whatever, you know, wash, do all my bits and pieces, and then I do my work. And then in the evening, have my dinner, workout, whatever. That's my routine, so pretty much every day. But there are some days where I'm like, oh, I haven't done this, I haven't done that. And it has been sort of like a little bit of a negative drain on me. But I always try and keep to that routine. And the better I keep to that routine and the more I do it, the more positive results happen, you know? So I'm like, oh, thanks, past David, for doing a bunch of work like 2 weeks ago, you know? Or like, thanks, David, or past David, for like working out, because I feel a lot more better. I feel a lot more healthy, you know?
So basically what you're saying, the stuff you're doing in the present is setting you up for the future.
Yeah, exactly. I always think 1 or 2 steps ahead of what I'm doing, you know? I try not to worry about the future as well. That's the worst thing you can do, is sort of worry about the future, because the future is something that you can't control. To a certain extent, you can control it. But some things in the future, there's billions of different possibilities. So you just have to go with the flow, go with the present.
Definitely. And I feel like I have to work on that a lot, because I'm a big overthinker. And it sort of hinders not my progress, because I'm always, whenever I got stuff that needs to get done, I get it done. But it sort of hinders my peace of mind, you know. And I feel like without headspace, peace of mind, like you can't, it's not it, you know.
And I feel like it's the same for a lot of people that are listening today. You just need to not worry about the future, just take it one step at a time. But for me, I usually plan out my stuff in between sort of like 1 and 2 weeks before I'm actually doing it. This is how I work. It might work for you, it might not, but it's just how I work. So, yeah.
Oh, so you're very calculated then when you do stuff.
You're making me sound like a psychopath. No.
Oh, you know what I mean. You're very sort of strategic.
Yeah, I like to be strategic with everything and calculate my moves, and yeah.
Yeah, I'm like that, but I just feel like I think too deep into it. So like I calculate it, and strategize it to the finest detail, and yeah, it's worked in my favor, but most of the time it's caused more stress than what it's really worth, you know.
Yeah. And I feel a lot of people are the same, you know. So there's some people that are overthinkers. Like I wish I could be one of those people who can just do that, you know, and just think nothing of it and get a peaceful night's sleep all the time, you know. But I feel like even those people that are like that, sometimes they even get like negative thoughts, you know. They get like bad things happen to them, you know. So
life, isn't it? Life, it comes with a lot of ups and downs, but it's all about sort of staying strong and continuing, I guess.
Yeah, you can't have the whole cake and eat it, you know. You're gonna have to eat your greens sometime, you know, even though it might taste a bit funky, but it's gonna improve you as a person, you know. So
yeah, it goes back to that sort of gym metaphor. Like, it breaks you down to build yourself back up, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, man, is there anything like you wanted to discuss? Because to be honest, this podcast, right, it wasn't really that pre-planned. It was sort of like we had a premise, you know, dealing with haters, but everything else has pretty much just been off the dome, to be honest. When I say off the dome, I mean like freestyle.
Well, we can maybe go through the financial freedom again if you want to, just quickly, like do like half an hour of it, maybe.
No, to be honest, you can dive into that a bit, but I just feel like we've covered pretty much enough for this topic. You know.
Okay, all right then.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
we don't want to spoil the viewers too much.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil the viewers too much. So, in conclusion, yeah, like what advice would you give people who are going through a tough time? You know, with bearing in mind all this COVID, all this lockdown situation. Like, what advice would you give them to help them? You know, make their situation much better.
So if you're going through a shitty situation, first thing I'd do is get a piece of paper and write down what you need to do in that day, or what you need to do in that week, or what you have to do in that month.
Yeah.
And just have a goal to aim for. And once you get into a routine of doing something, let's say you wake up at a decent time, have healthy foods, do a little bit of exercise. You don't have to do like crazy amounts of exercise, but you can do like 20 half an hour of like exercise. Yeah, half an hour minimum is enough, you know.
Yeah.
As long as you go into a routine of doing positive stuff, positive things will happen to you. So it's all about building that routine, and once you've got that going for you, everything around you will improve.
Yeah, definitely. And I wanted to add something as well. Like, with a lot of, especially with this whole pandemic, like a lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of people have just gone through like shit time. You know, not being able to see friends, not being able to see family. I just want people to obviously know that, you know, like it gets better at the end of the day. You know, we're all gonna go. We're all been living through this. You know, things will get better definitely, and keep, you know, and try and get into good routines. Try and stay positive, and yeah, just keep doing it and don't give up. Like, no matter how many rejections you go through, no matter how many times you get turned down at job interviews, or, you know what I mean, you just face rejection in anywhere of your life, no matter how many customers don't want to buy your product, just keep going, and you'll eventually get it. Remember, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and that's a fact.
Exactly. And also, if you don't ask or you don't do, you won't know. So this
Exactly.
is basically the same metaphor.
Yeah, true, and yeah, trust me. One quote that helped me get through the pandemic sort of at the beginning was like, if you try, you have more of a chance than if you don't try. Understand?
Yeah,
Pretty much the same thing.
yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. So
But yeah,
yeah,
guys, you want to add the last bit?
I was gonna say, hopefully you guys can take a little bit of knowledge from this. We're gonna try and improve as podcasters, or video. We'll try and improve as podcasters. So
Yeah, as we go on.
yeah, as we go on.
So yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We hope you learned something, and don't forget to share, like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, hit the DM up if you want to do any collaborations. All right, peace out.